Starcraft 2 from IEM Katowice 2021. 2 players you should know and you should love. No matter how large or small they are, no matter how much of an underdog. But we're going to mix it up. We're going to do a little something different. We're going to look at the first-person perspectives of both these players, which means, yes, we're going to have to keep up just in order to help us along. We're going to have the production tab. We're going to have the resources potentially of the opponent. We might go back and forth, but I think they're both worth watching. But you probably already watched this man as best you can in the top left. From Mouse Sports, the German Terran, the biggest of Gabes. It's HeroMarine. And on the other side, a man who I think will go far in this tournament and has shown himself not just to be a ZVZ sniper, but instead one of the most, if not the most, well-rounded players in StarCraft 2. The man with more APM than the entire Bronze League combined. And then some. It's Reynor. And as you can already see, we're gonna start with HeroMarine's perspective, and I'm gonna try, because we watched a lot of TVZ nowadays. There's been a lot of casting. You've probably seen many of the IEM Katowice matches, one way or another. This wasn't the finals, believe it or not, so maybe a little less high profile. But these two players, HeroMarine always surprises people. What do I mean by that? But like, I think he surprises himself. He's actually I gotta first complain. I want to complain first, of course. Big Gabe is right now. He's playing against Reynor. He's a real challenger for Reynor. In this, we'll put the score up after the first game. Jimmy, get on it. He's one of the best Terran players in the whole world. He streams most days with better English commentary than me, while having several thousand more MMR. To which I say, these Terran players, TY as well, who both casts and wins the tournaments he casts in. These Terran players need to stop getting so close to my job here. On the bright side, HeroMarine hasn't decided to pick up the casting title belt. Instead, he's a little more focused at actually winning in the game. But if you maybe at least pretend like the game is hard for you below 7k MMR, please. That might be too much to ask, but we'll see. We'll maybe try to learn something. As HeroMarine opening up, these are kind of just feeling each other. I'm sure both these players, in fact, both these players are so high up on the ladder that if the other one isn't awake, the queue times might be half an hour. That might not be quite as true for HeroMarine, but there are a single-digit number of players above 7k MMR, and these are 2 of them. On top of course, just being the best in the world, it's just ladder heroes as well, which means they played a ton. HeroMarine coming out with the early Marines. And this is just, we've been seeing a whole lot of variation on the just Hellion openers. Looks like we got a little bit of Flex Terran, maybe some Bio-Curious play. It depends on what he follows it up with. But HeroMarine going with 8 Marines and a Medevac, which is the most confusing way to spell Viking. And the threat of a Hellbat push, and the fact he's killing speed overlords with a Medevac. And the Medevac makes this look like a Hellbat push for sure. It's not. He's following it up with, I mean, Reynor does eventually get in. I'm not sure if this is better than just going Hellions. Obviously, you want to mix it up a little. There are a lot of builds that are just kind of figured out. I think we're gonna, Jimmy, could we change it up a little, make it a little easier to see here? There you go. There. Now we can see red on the minimap. It was throwing me off that Reynor was blue. Reynor did what many queens... Oh, I'm sorry, Freudian slip. Many players do. Build queens to defend. Coming in. Try to draw the Zerglings away, get the Hellions in, but Reynor not biting. Raven showing up. This is the HeroMarine going a whole lot of different directions in the early game here. And, I mean, you can get away with it. It's not like Reynor. When you see that many queens, the one thing you do know is it's unlikely to be an attack. When they're... Brenda! Oh, what was that? What are they saying? Don't worry about it.
Complete.
In the part 5x5. So, when you see that many queens, it's probably not going to be some sort of big Ling Bane play. It's not usually a very quick lair, and indeed, we see it isn't. HeroMarine, though, it is kind of impressive. Well, he's killed some oaks. Don't forget that. But, also just the amount of denial that Reynor has at the moment. Like, I'm gonna... Alright, prepare yourselves. We're gonna flip over to the Reynor cam. You gotta steel yourself a little bit. Be ready. But Reynor just comfortable on a solid drone count. Moving back with his queens here. HeroMarine moving in. Looking for an opportunity. Stim is done despite not having that many Marines. The wraparound. The Zerglings adding more queens on. Good transfuses. Gets a few injects in while he's at it. We will see. Now, oh wow. Just expecting the drop in the main. Reynor preempted. Oh my god. I don't know if he saw it load up or if he just predicted it, but it's a pretty safe prediction. He had the Lings already ready. Gets the creep drop. The queen count is not sufficient because it never is, but it's good enough for now. Upgrades continuing, waiting for creep. A handful of banelings, as HeroMarine is definitely getting together a pretty dangerous army by this point. He's going to have 1-1 and combat shield finishing. So Reynor sitting right now on 75 drones, and until we get a little bit more stable in the mid-game, until you get your 1-1, until you get your baneling speed, going too much over this drone count is risky, because at some point you don't have enough larvae to make the Lings and Banes to deal with what the Terran's putting on the field. But the counterattack coming through. Great counterattack here. The Queens will help hold the line. Lings and Banes out in the middle of the map. I'm not sure what their intention is, either to flank or just all-out attack. But Reynor's holding on with Queens, with Lings and Banes ready to strike on the other side. We'll see. Going to the HeroMarine cam. I know, it's a little jarring. Gets him out of there, but oh no! Oh, he saw it.
This better be good.
Oh, well, that doesn't help. This is, he has to force the issue now. Unfortunately, that when you have to get damage done is when you're least likely to. HeroMarine struggling, types it out. Well, that was a bit... that was a concise game one. I did not expect going in with these two. Now, it's not... Obviously, it's not over. That's why we play more than a best of one, but that's... Reynor just slapped him around and put him down. Yeah. That was pretty rough for Big Gabe there. It just felt like he couldn't get anything done. And then Reynor has too much economy. He's ready to counterattack and defend Queens. Hashtag Yas Queens. Oof. Indeed. Can we get the score on the board here? Jimmy. I don't know. Like, I feel it was another way to set up the mid game. So what a lot of Terrans nowadays, we're in the 3cc meta. We're in the 3cc meta, which is every 6 months or so, Terran players start to go 3cc almost every game. And then eventually they start getting so greedy, Maru, that Zergs and Protoss even start punishing Terrans for all that. early economic grade. But right now we're in the thick of it. And then for several months, like, Terrans are more focused on the early 2 base, and then it seems to rotate around again. It doesn't have much to do with balance patches unless literally everyone's proxying, which doesn't usually happen. It's just the general consensus on how matchups are supposed to go is what gets affected. It takes some time to change it in either direction. I do kind of feel, though, it is Reynor, Serral, Dark. These are the 3 leading Zergs right now. And all of them... Okay, I'm going to HeroMarine. I can't do it, Reynor. I'm sorry. Oh, he's not any better. Well, here we are. Welcome to the professional experience. You just get it directly injected into your brain. What was I saying? I'm sorry, I lost track of everything. Oh yeah, Serral, Reynor, and Dark. They're choosing the economic route as well. Like last game, Reynor surely knew there wasn't that much going on early on. Like it's a handful of Marines and a handful of Hellions. A roach push could have done devastating damage. But why risk it? Right now, most Zerg players seem to be comfortable with just sitting back, defending, and overwhelming with economy. Kind of like a Wings of Liberty style. Like, Zerg has more economy, but Terran has better units, so we kind of have that back and forth. A lot of micro on the Reaper, banking up 500 mid. Oh, he's like, no. This was for my 3rd CC. Was it? Yeah, probably. It actually works out perfectly. What am I criticizing?
Complete.
3rd CC before Starport. Come on, like, they can't keep getting away. Well, Reynor already has a 3rd hack. It's pretty quick as well. So he delayed Zergling speed a bit, get a few more minerals. As in, like, he wasn't mining the gas, not he just didn't click the button, Diamond Leaguers. Don't pretend like you have that much in common with Reynor.
Upgrade complete.
So a lot of players have been going for this 3rd lately. You might think the one on the top of the platform is more obvious, but think about a drop coming in at that location, at the 3rd, the triangle location, where HeroMarine's going to take his. 1 or 2 medevacs coming from that right side are threatening not only the 3rd, but the main then. Whereas here, technically, they are threatening the natural, but there's a much larger open space. It's easier to spread your creep out. The Zerg players taking the front base. And honestly, some Terrans will as well to just have a better pushing angle. Because you don't want to be coming back to defend. You want it to be along your reinforcement path. Whenever I say words like that, I feel like I'm either doing like a modern cover of The Art of War or just bullshitting. But I hope it made sense. Like, it's like The Art of War, except it's a rap/interpretive dance from the makers of Hamilton.
Additional supply depots required. Command
I'm okay for
complete.
now. Live on HBO Max. Ugh. I'll be okay.
I'm in a heap of trouble.
The dance back and forth, Hellion Banshee, just a little later than... And there's a Zergling in the base.
SCV ready.
So the Zergling, if Reynor didn't know before, he knows now exactly how much commitment there is behind this. Hey, I'm sure he knows about the 3rd. Well, actually, let's go to the Reynor cam. Buckle up. He doesn't actually know about the 3rd. It's implied. It's implied. What do I mean? Just the timing of the Hellions, the lack of dangerous... He's already got Spore Crawlers well before the Banshees come in. So, this all tells Reynor he's already going for the counterattack, realizing a 3rd is likely there. And it looks like we're going to have a similar situation to last game. The openers and the details are a little fuzzier, but it's going to be another Reynor having a comfortable drone count, but HeroMarine also having a 3rd. Nice positioning allows HeroMarine to minimize the damage, but the Banshees are back at home. The Banshees are back at home, and you know what that means? Creep, 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 creep. There's nothing to stop him. He can creep on all angles. He'll be fine for at least 15-20 seconds. And now he's not fine because the Hellions just ran by. I can't believe he's done this. Oh my god, panic. Everyone panic. Yo, Brenda, you come on, Brenda! What are you doing? Oh, God! He just ran in! He's not supposed to do this! This is so wrong! It's a disaster! Oh, and that is the downside of getting a little too greedy. You saw Reynor. He's like, aha, I have some time. Not that much time. 15 kills. HeroMarine racking up 15 drone kills. 18 total. And that actually puts HeroMarine ahead in the worker count. Reynor, now, a little more frantic in his crate. He's got an Evo chamber in the way of his gas at the third. Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. Yeah, that. Yeah, he has to kill his own Evo. Much more frantic on the creep. You saw Reynor there. We've all been there. All my Zerg friends out there. Plenty of them. Everyone's been there. You're like, okay, I'm safe. And then suddenly, here come the Hellions. And then one queen gets her thickness up in the way, and suddenly even more drones die, and everything feels bad, man. At this point, Reynor has to scramble. Let's go to the big Gabe camp and see how he presses his now significant advantage. He has more workers. He's got upgrades slightly quicker. He's got, like, just having the more workers means your production can come online and you can keep the foot on the gas pedal, even if you're not spending much of it, because Terran doesn't spend that much gas, so.
Go, go, go!
Ready for dust off.
So HeroMarine's objective at this point is going to be control the creep and pressure bases as you can while lining up for 2-2. The fact he hasn't started, well, he started +2 weapons. It's unlikely, despite the damage, you're not going to kill either Reynor or your average Zerg. But you can keep a lot of pressure on because Reynor should not have the units to both defend comfortably and counterattack, as well as the fact, unlike last game, HeroMarine already has walls on the third. He should have a lot more time to deal with something like a Baneling counterattack. He's at 72 versus 74 workers as opposed to down 15 even before any Banelings come in. The queens are not enough. He scans partially for the creep, partially for... Wait a second, is that it? Is that it? A sensor tower at the third, and HeroMarine Big Gabe going to be picking up the fourth base against a very larva-intensive Zerg. Reynor needs that larva. +1 mech armor. Just trying to keep those medevacs and tanks alive. HeroMarine playing for the maxed out army right now. He's got 2-2 on the way. Reynor also has some going for him. There is the army. Being very careful about it. Can't be risking the majority. Oh my god, so many queens. He just keeps... How many queens? He's got 11 queens. Reynor knows where his biscuit is buttered. Is that tank stuck? I think that tank maybe... No, it came out. There's no reason to get too greedy here. If you're HeroMarine, you just took out the fourth. Play it relatively safe. Oh, whoa, 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 no, God! Oh, that was every Terran's nightmare.
Mineral
Just...
field depleted.
Oh, Reynor, out of nowhere. Where did he even come from? Oh, 3 spores ready for the drops, and suddenly... Oh, no. There's still a tank down there for some reason, but... I mean, HeroMarine still has a lot going for him, but the momentum was just cut off at the knees and evaporated. He's still going to be able to put pressure on. He still has... Like, he didn't lose any SCVs, he didn't lose any bases. But he did lose the majority of a full push. So, and one more of that, and suddenly you go from even or a lead to playing defense against a guy with over 600 APM. Oh no, he's not watching. Thankfully, the tanks are just rallied at the factory. That's a little forward. The Marine, Big Gabe himself, drops out to try to drive back the Banes, and of course does so successfully. As Reynor realizes, even though all this is happening, let's go back to the Reynor action cam, as he's still under a ton of pressure. He's got a hive on the way. He has no anti-air outside of queens and spores. The surround is coming through. The Banelings manually controlled. More. Oh, the queens! The queens! caught on their own starting upgrades. It's going to be a very larva-intensive and a very attrition-focused match. Reynor will be losing a whole lot of Zerglings. He's going to be losing a whole lot of Banes. But he will trade many of, like, overall, Reynor has lost 2,000 more resources. That's not that much so far. But it's going to continue like that until he's either able to take an overwhelmingly good fight or overwhelm HeroMarine. Because the Marines and Marauders are just better. Pound for pound, mineral for mineral. But Zerg's gonna Zerg. Oh, setting up a flank. Unfortunately, on Romanticide, there are some awkward angles where you can't really move the Lings and Banes through. HeroMarine, I think, intentionally not taking down many of these rocks. Reynor not watching for his fourth. It's going to go down. Lings and Banes trying to respond. Meanwhile, HeroMarine moving in the front. A great move out of Big Game. He's on creep, though. Here comes the Lings and Banes from the back. What looked like it was going to be an okay fight. Suddenly, Reynor finds big clumps of Marine. Turning it around back. Adding a few more injects, Blinding Cloud getting involved, and Reynor somehow going to win the fight, but still the war is very much in doubt. Moving around, transferring drones, creep continuing to spread where it can. Reynor's creep driven back, the map is dark and full of Terrans. Ultras on the way, but Ultras are good for winning harder. If you're losing, Ultras are a risky choice, but they're the only one really Reynor had to make. He has adrenal glands. He's got that. That's a huge damage upgrade, especially if the Zerglings are actually allowed to close the distance with 40% attack speed. The Cracklings, as they were called, for the most obvious reasons. Reynor has held on. That tank, that hero tank, over on the other side of the map is still jammed into those minerals with a few Marine guards. But the Ultras are out. Let's go to the Big Gabe action cam and see how he deals with them. The Ultras are going to show up. He has yet... I don't know if he's seen them yet, but he's about... Oh, hello! Oh, God! Oh, my God! Suddenly, two flanks being crushed, but... He has enough Marauders mixed in. He hasn't gone for the pure Marine plays you'll sometimes see. Tanks are just kind of out there, holding the line. The line being in a random location, not so random location, but a location and completely cut off from everyone else. HeroMarine is still maxed out. 3-3 about to finish. Scanning forward, seeing a dangerous army. EMP shockwaves. He's going to use Ghosts to counter Vipers. Are there even Marines over there? He put most of the Marines in medevacs and sent them across the map, which is probably the only way they were going to live. At the same time, cuts down a bunch of Zerglings. Finally, that tank will go down, but buying the time, the Marauders tearing through all the creep right now. Picks up, gets out. Medevacs for all on HeroMarine's base. Double Parasitic Bomb, not going to be enough to kill the Liberators in one go. You're going to need more anti-air as Reynor. HeroMarine, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bases. A couple extra command centers to back it up. Another one going for the front. Still some tanks out on the map. HeroMarine still has the momentum. He's still able to keep Reynor responding to him as opposed to the other way around. And that's how you keep it going as a Terran player, especially when you're playing kind of this bio-heavy style later into the game. But he is adding in Ghosts. He is adding in Liberators. We got high-sec auto-tracking. We got Neo-Steel armor. Yes, we combine the upgrades nowadays. So heavy on the Marauders. More Marauders than Marines right now, with Ghosts following it up, because what do you even need Marines for? Anything that dies to Ultras and Banes is a liability right now. Anything that kills them, on the other hand, is top priority, and Big Gabe understands that while still doing damage on the other side, pulling back from the north. The medevacs on the... I think at this point he has too many medevacs. HeroMarine cleaned up, loses track of one prong of this entire silverware set of just forks. And now it's starting to slow down a little bit for him. He's taken out one base, but Reynor's taking the north side. HeroMarine, not quite maxed out, doesn't have money in the bank. He's building that slower but deadly unit composition. Instead of trying to outrun and outmaneuver Reynor, he wants to win a heads-up fight, but he wants to take it on the best possible terms. That's going to mean, ideally, either taking out or negating the Vipers with Ghosts, probably, potentially with drops or just distracting them. There's not that many Marines to come down. He's not building any Vikings. Any amount he can do in order to, like, right now, Reynor's on borrowed time. That's why he's building a Spire. We can see in the production tab, because those ranged Liberators become more and more annoying to deal with. The Ghost, lined up. He gets a hold of them. Lands the snipes. Planetary Fortress does go down, but gonna trade for a couple ultras. Most of the army is here. He's got to do something with it.
Upgrade complete.
Meanwhile, the ultras are moving in. Great target fire onto the Banes. Meanwhile, the Bio Army brings the SCVs around. It's a little late. On the north side, HeroMarine, more Ultras transferring SCVs through the jaws of the Ultras, knowing the tanks will eventually eliminate them. More Ghosts looking for snipes, takes the shot, point blank, down for the count. Meanwhile, more Marauders sent into medevacs. HeroMarine keeping up. But will he be able to compete for long enough, as Reynor is starting more and more to do as Reynor do, which is just outclass and outspeed his opponent. He just gets too fast, too furious with too many units, and almost no one, if not no one, is able to keep up. So HeroMarine is currently on the edge of that. He's not maxed out. Reynor's starting to bank money. There's another minute, maybe, while HeroMarine is maxed out, that he can compete on the map before he starts having to be forced into a defensive posture. Because right now, Marauders on the other side, but the Zerglings at the front. Got to move units back. Spread over by the left side. He's been cleared off the north side of the map almost entirely. He's doing his best to keep Reynor busy as well. It's coming down to the death ball. It's coming down to whether there's enough Ghosts, whether there's enough tanks, enough Liberators. Everything else is just filler here. He needs as much of those stronger like the Bio Army needs to be built, but ideally it's not more than half of your active supply. It sounds like a lot, but like it is just buffer for your better units. Kind of like Lings and Banes for the Ultras at this point. And then of course Vipers, more scans coming through. Sensor towers being used pretty consistently by HeroMarine to make sure he has information. It appears Big Gabe is saying, this is my army, okay? This army needs to live, and it needs to win. Because if he loses it, he's lost the game. He's running out of places to mine from. The first 3 bases, first 1 and 2 are essentially mined out. The third is nearly gone. So he needs these bases, and he's fighting right outside of them. He cannot lose another fight. Reynor is a little more spread out, as Zergs have a tendency to be. There's still a drop to the north. Constant scans. There are infestors as a target looking for snipes, finding more. Something's happening to the north. That medevac looks like it was taken out, but any amount of units committed out there is a big deal. More snipes coming through. Wait, there's no Overseers. Big Gabe realizes. I think he just got one there a moment ago. Meanwhile, a whole lot of Zerglings and Banelings, but the snipes across the board. He's going for the Overseer snipe play. The problem is, splash damage doesn't discriminate. The Banelings chopping through. Ultras being sniped from right off to the side. Another Overseer, but another round from the firing squad. The Zerglings have broken through the front, but HeroMarine has broken through the lines of the Zerg. Reynor desperately trying to put together enough to defend, but the medevacs are keeping everyone who doesn't die outright at full health. A handful of Zerglings slowly being whittled down as it looks like Big Gabe has won the fight on both fronts. Is it enough? Somehow the supplies are even. 8 more Ultras on the way. Let's switch to the other side of the story. Reynor doesn't have that much going for him. A great fungal here. I haven't seen any Corruptors quite yet. Ultras being sniped down. Widowmine's getting involved. Not finding too much. Tanks at the back line. Reynor trying to break through, but not enough. And HeroMarine holds. And there you go. It's that simple. Kill 15 drones early, and then barely ride the bull of that momentum for the rest of the game so that Reynor can't quite stab you 1,000 times to death. That was quite a game. Pretty good game. It looked like HeroMarine is very good about this. Many Terrans are a little like it almost feels like their principles get in the way, and don't ever let that happen. He'll go to the later game. He'll get the Liberator range, get the building upgrades. He'll get Ghosts. A lot of players will kind of try to fit the square peg in the non-existent hole for a while with the Marines and Marauders and Medevacs, until they get run over and it's already too late. Like if you're making your first Liberators when Ultras are killing your 4th, it is too late. It is too late. But not that time. Yeah. That was, make no mistake, like, the damage done early. That's what dictated the pace of the game. At this level, like, taking that much damage, even for Reynor, he really did get ahead of himself. He's like, well, he came back with his unit, so I can sit here and build drones for a while, or something like that. That's how he looks, okay? Like, and that did not end up being the case.
Additional supply depots required.
I think, by the way, if we made it this far, like and subscribe, by the way. By the way, if I say by the way one more time, dislike and subscribe. Just so you can get angry at me. Engagement. For me, personally, unfortunately, or fortunately, I guess, it's hard for me to fake it. Just ask your mother. So, at the end of the day, I've seen a lot of incredible Terran versus Zergs. They're so good. They're so exciting. But they all do end up looking very similar. Especially when we have the same maps for so long. So, getting the first person perspective is a it's every once in a while you just want to see what it feels like. So, it is much more intense. If harder to follow. But I hope you guys are enjoying the breakdown. I hope I'm doing them justice.
Command center upgrade complete.
So far, though, unfortunately, like, well, HeroMarine is actually a player I think is pretty solid to copy from. I call them template players. Yes, I'm very clever. But template players are the kind of ones, each race has them, like a Stats, a TY, a HeroMarine, a Cyril. And then there are players who are more, like, you don't necessarily, you shouldn't be following. Reynor is one of those players that sometimes he looks like a template player, but like, you're not gonna do perfectly injecting half a dozen hatcheries while counterattacking and microing Lingbane on 3 angles and creep spreading. Like, he didn't make a single... Now, he did lose that game, but he didn't make any lair tech units. Unless you, I guess, consider infestors lair tech units, but I wouldn't. No, like, hydras, no mutas. The sheer mechanical skill you need, and he did end up losing. Barely. But the sheer mechanical skill you need in order to keep up production of that many Lings and Banes against a world-class Terran. I know, to your average Diamond Terran, it does seem like there's always enough Lings and Banes. But if you've ever watched Clem, or Beyond, or HeroMarine, you will know that's not the case. At some point, the Lings and Banes, especially off creep, they just don't seem to do any damage. Like that. They got 6 medevacs, they got a decent marine spread, and suddenly your banelings just kind of die. So the overwhelming numbers are required. You gotta go full Zerg. Oh, what is this? Like, I'm over here talking about the games that have already happened, whereas HeroMarine is doing a Wings of Liberty build. Which is, like, is it... It's a fake. Wait, what? Is he just going to... Are we playing real... Is he taking me to McDonald's? Oh, come on. Oh, it's a Biocurious build. Not Flex Terran. Flex Terran is when you do... Well, it depends. It depends. It could be Flex Terran. Flex Terran is when you go either direction. Biocurious is when you just add in very heavy Widow Mines. Or mech units. Like, you got 2 factory mech. Biocurious, of course, because named after Cure. Who knows that instead of microing Marines, it's always better to just make more Widow Mines. And I fully agree with that. So, he's had a tendency to great success, including against players like Cyril and Reynor. Just build a bunch of Widow Mines and hope that you get the good hit. Cure. The player who makes it look like anyone can be a prophet. I'm so sorry, kid. Not that sorry. I don't... So Reynor saw the upgrading factory. I don't know if he's calling the bluff right now, but he just... Even nowadays, roaches are just not a unit in this matchup. Unless you're going to try to all-in. Even against mech, roaches just don't get it done. So I'm not 100% on whether Reynor thinks this is going to be actual mech. But either way, roaches just leave you in such an awkward spot. They're just not a very good unit. They're just kind of terrible at everything. The only thing they're good at is having a lot of them, but that can be solved with solid Ling Bane and control as well as queens. Unless you're Dark. Okay, yes, but Dark has his own thing going. Like, Dark is the zest of Zerg. He just kind of decides this is a build that works, and then it does. Except when it doesn't, against some of these players. So don't copy Dark either. Like, I'm really like, I guess he expects... His name's HeroMarine, not Hero Blue Flame Hellion. Okay. So, he's not allowed to go... Actually, HeroMarine was one of the more common mech players when Hellclone was more of a... It was more of a... It was like the soup of the day. Well, soup of the month, really. There was like 2 months, like a year and a half ago, where Hellclone was a thing. And it was most games. And then people learned that Vipers exist and that Lurkers are good, and it stopped being that much of a thing. I remember casting Reynor versus HeroMarine, like a really sick... where like Reynor discovered Lurkers, and Reynor has strong thoughts on Lurkers. But eventually he made Lurkers and won, but there was like 30 minutes until he remembered Lurkers existed. With the upgrades. Oh yeah, by the way, he sees the Marines. It's not mech. It's not mech. It's not even a flex Terran build. He just went 2 factory. And now like he's only using one of them. Why do you hurt me like this? Ooh. You see, you deserve that, HeroMarine. You should have gone mech. I'm just saying, if he had gone mech, he couldn't have lost that many Marines to mainlings because he wouldn't have had them. We're going to the big Gabe action cam though. He's got now not more workers than this is very important. There is a lot of tanks, some Hellions involved as well. Hellbats, straight out of. He's just decided we're not building. I think he accidentally built a Widow Mine last game. I saw one. Is he just doesn't like Widow Mines? Okay. You don't want to be called a cure, right? Like, oh, good spread. The tanks, the banelings. Oh my god, there's more! Oh. Well, if only there was some sort of unit that could burrow and do splash damage. Wouldn't that be useful here over... I don't... He's building a couple tanks at a time. It seems like Big Gabe is committed to the heavy tank as opposed to adding in like Widow Mines, or the Hellbats are kind of an afterthought from all this. 2-2's on the way. Reynor didn't get +1 melee. I'm not sure if that was intentional or a mistake, but he didn't. Not having +1 melee. There's going to be +2 Marines. Okay, +1 will be done. But HeroMarine will have an upgrade advantage. And even though he lost some of the army, Reynor just has this refusal. He's not going Spire. He's not even going Hydras. He's just making a whole lot of Lings and Banes. Which is what has created this, oh my god, there are so many Lings and Banes scenario. Where HeroMarine keeps getting caught off guard by the sheer quantity of units. But at the same time, the cost efficiency of Marines and Medevacs can never be underestimated. Like, the Medevacs aren't going to die, and Unless they get a little too close to the queens. That's a lot of Banes.
Base is under attack.
Meanwhile, HeroMarine's relying on reinforcements and will be successful. 2-2 is about to finish. +2 attack. HeroMarine will technically have a 2 upgrade advantage in just a few moments. And he's right on the door. He could try to pick a fight at that exact moment, and that would be the ideal timing. +2 weapons done. Gonna split, gonna stem. Zergling's at the back. Reynor's buying good time until his +1 melee finishes. It is done now. We got +2 armor on the way. He really wants it. HeroMarine, he's preempting a flank. Let's go to the... Oh! Catches the Banes! Big catch. He knows what Reynor... He knows Reynor well enough from this series. We're going to the Reynor cam. HeroMarine was really committing like 30-40 of his supply just to defending the what he deemed inevitable flank. And he actually found the Banelings morphing. Reynor only has... Oh, I don't know what he killed there, but it seems like it was a lot. +50, or maybe that was the XP from the Banelings. I'm not sure. Looking for the surround. HeroMarine responds. Liberators on the field. Reynor has Hive done, splitting off more Lings and Banes. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa! Oh no! Reynor's everywhere. It does seem, even last game we saw this, HeroMarine was losing track of some units. There were some medevacs, there were some counterattacks that HeroMarine just wasn't quite ready for. He handled it, but like, he wasn't out in front of it. That does not seem to happen to Reynor very often. Reynor does always, no matter what, seem to at least have an idea of what's going to happen or be dictating the pace of it. And here we go again. Huge counterattack, getting into sensor tower range now, so HeroMarine will have a little bit of warning. Oh, the attack over to the right side. It's only 2 medevacs. Shouldn't be a huge deal. Maybe could drag the medevacs back. The creep spread isn't incredibly great here. The creep spread is barely outside of the base HeroMarine's pushing into as well. I mean, that's just due diligence. Reynor continuing to look for opportunities around. Going to try to whittle down the bases. He already saw that there wasn't a base on the other side. Surprised he didn't go for the surround of that planetary fortress, but he's getting outflanked right now, and suddenly, wait a second. Is there a Spire done? There is no Spire. So he doesn't have any direct counter to the Liberators. The Liberators don't have range, but there's not that much anti-air either. This one is going to be cleaned up, but Reynor, he's starting to bank up money. He's got a Lurker Den on the way. Lurker Den does complete. 9 Lurkers begin as well. We didn't start the upgrades because he spent all his gas. Those upgrades are really important. The Lurkers are intensely mediocre until they get range and speed burrow. They got drilling claws, and they got metabolic boost, and they got the extended Lurker spines, seismic spines. I don't know how that's different, but it sounds better, so... Meanwhile, counterattack of Zerglings. Yanks in a tank. Gets another one. Blinding Cloud they can't see, but if they're dead, they can't see either. So that's also effective. HeroMarine still pressing the issue. He's been heavy on the tanks this whole time, which actually kind of surprised. Reynor never started the Lurker upgrades. You need to have the Lurker upgrades against tanks. I don't even care if you have Vipers or not. If you don't, like, if you have enough Vipers, the question is, why don't you have the Lurker upgrades? If you don't have enough Vipers, it doesn't matter anyways. It gets even harder. Coming in with the Lings and Banes. The Marines caught in a bit of an awkward angle. The Lurker's not really participating in this fight, but HeroMarine, maybe a little bit of overcommitment. More Spore Crawlers in the main. Still no Lurker upgrades. HeroMarine continues to press on the issue and pulls the Marines out of the base. The thing is, Reynor now has, well, he's still got 80 drones. And he still has the base he's been defending for a while yet. So despite HeroMarine having what seems to be the unit composition, he finally starts the Lurker ups. HeroMarine only has +3 attack. Obviously both players a little stressed in Game 3. Reynor consumes his own extractor to death. I mean, energy is worth it, I think, at this stage. But the next minute or so at least should go into, well, HeroMarine should be taking the initiative, because he still has Marine tank, which means he doesn't want to sit back. He's not building a better army right now. Yanks a few of the tanks into Lurker range. The Lurkers don't have that extra range, but Is the Marine tank count high enough? Almost none of them are sieged. Another tank grabbed and executed. HeroMarine? Well, Reynor rather. If you missed it, he just injected. I forgot we were on the Reynor cam. I meant to go. Just, well, we'll get there. Try and keep up. +3 attack is done. Ghost Academy on the way. More Liberators in production. The pickup a little on the slow side there from Big Gabe. A few Lurkers. He's very heavy on the Marines as well. This is not that last game with Heavy Marauder, though Marauder's not very good against Lurkers either. Well, the Lurkers now have their adaptive talent, their burrow speed. HeroMarine's starting to get less and less done with the Marines out on the map, which is part of why he's building Liberators, but Liberators aren't the be-all, end-all against the Hydra Viper Parasitic Bomb! Get over here! Thankfully not getting the medevacs that are the most badly bruised. But HeroMarine, he's barely mining from 4 bases. A tenuous 4 bases. He really does need... Reynor has not lost a base in a while. Like, he's mining comfortably. He's not maxed out, but he's going to start building it up. You got to be real careful. Barely careful. And remember, the only detection is scans right now. Almost never... Oh no, watch out! Oh god! No, he's overestimating his Marines! Oh, Lurkers are... I mean, he kills the Lurkers. That's a lot of Lurkers to kill. The tank's doing a great job, just dropping the Liberators right on top of the bases. So, while it's a little dicey and slicey, the Marine tank push is still a good potential counter to Lurkers. It does come down to execution. It does come down to the Vipers and the tanks and how they interact, because those are the heavy hitters on both sides. Or at least they dictate how the fight goes. A great tank spread, maybe a little too spread, with tanks on either side, but almost none right down the middle. HeroMarine does want to defend this base, sieges up another tank. Can't quite fit everything on the screen. +1 mech is done. 4 tanks can kind of in an awkward position out here. He's building 3 tanks at a time. Those Lurkers are getting... Well, I think there's about to be some Lurkers on the high ground. HeroMarine, I think, realizing that as well. He's starting to get pushed heavily onto the back foot. The Lurkers taking the rest of the map, grabbing it and slicing it to pieces. Another couple tanks and a bunch of Marines are going to be eviscerated. Vipers coming in, and this is feeling like critical damage right here. Drags another tank into range, and HeroMarine agrees. He never got anything really going. Reynor, I feel like that was a lot of the difference between losing 15 drones and not losing almost any. There was never that weak point where it felt like Reynor was giving up ground. Not exactly what I mean. What I mean is it never felt like Reynor would give up ground for free. As in, you can't defend it. This time, it felt like even though HeroMarine shut down some counterattacks, there was always just enough units to keep him from getting the damage he wanted to get done. The injects, Reynor ends the game at 604 actions per minute, so a slow game from him. But Lurkers are a slower unit. Big Gabe, a strong effort, but at the end of the day, there's a reason Reynor is one of the best. And despite all the pressure, despite going down a game, bounces back. I hope you enjoyed. What do you think? First person? Too fast, too furious? Or impossible to follow? Well, it's good to get a taste every now and again. Good luck. Have fun. See you next time.